Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. Want to welcome everybody here to our program tonight. Thank you for joining us, guys. We appreciate it ever so much. Before I get going with this, I also want to do some housekeeping really quick. Please, guys, check your subscriptions. YouTube keeps unsubscribing our subscribers here, and as a result, it's reflecting very poorly, and YouTube doesn't get it. I would ask you all to check your subscriptions and make sure you're still subscribed to our channel. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. If you subscribed and YouTube's taking you down, please resubscribe. And also, when you subscribe, hit that notification bell. There's a little tiny bell button right next to that. It's an icon right next to the subscription button. Click on that. When you do that, a drop-down menu of 3 items will come up. Click on the word ALL. That should get you notified when we come on the air. Second thing we need you to do, please stay here for the entire program, or as much as you possibly can. YouTube looks at many analytical factors to judge whether they're going to let anybody watch this program or not. One of them is likes, thumbs up. Another one is the amount of time you're here on the program. So please do that. It makes a world of difference. Because if YouTube isn't telling anybody about this program, guess what? We're not going to get anywhere. This program will not grow. We also want you to also share this program with everybody you know. Your friends, your family, your extended family, your neighbors, the people you work with, and also your social media contacts. Share this program far and wide. Now, fourth, I want you to remember this. You can help support this channel through super chats here on our program while we're on the air, or you can go just below this program, below this video today, in the top of our program description. You can donate to our channel by going to our mailing address, 504 Bethel Road, Box 401, Morganton, North Carolina. Zip code here is 28655. You can send cards and letters and stuff a check or money in between that letter or in the card and send it to us. That would be greatly appreciated. You can also go to our PayPal, which is just below this program today. You could donate to our PayPal or our Venmo address, and that's also in the top of our program description. Also, if you want to help support this program and become a member of this program, you can do that at the very top of our program description. There's a link to do that. So giving you a lot of information to think about. Please do it. We'd appreciate it so much. It would make a world of difference for our program. Now, folks, we have a lot of things to talk about. We normally do. Picoy, I'm so very sad that you've had to deal with what you've done. Or what has happened to you, with your son. God bless you. I know what hardship that is. I'm so sorry to hear that. Anyway, we appreciate all of you here with our program. Catherine Sigerson helped her dog deliver some puppies last night. We appreciate that as well. How many puppies did you get, Catherine? How many puppies did you get? We'd love to know. Last night she said she had at least 4. That's so cool. Sleeping Volcano's here in the chat saying it's better to donate through PayPal, and she's right. YouTube takes about 40 to 60% of the money that we get from you and from what we get from the pennies that YouTube gives us from advertisers that YouTube puts on our channel. It's unreal. Demon Catman just put up our PayPal location and our Venmo. We appreciate that so much. Belinda Mustava says, my only problem is I'm watching on my phone. No problem. No problem at all. Catherine Sigurdsson says she has 6 new puppies, 4 boys and 2 girls. That's awesome, Catherine. That is so cool. I love it. I love it. I love dogs, guys. We have 2 of our own here. We call them our kids because they act like our kids. It's unreal. Unreal. Anyway, guys, we appreciate you being here tonight. One of the first things we want to talk about are fires here in North and South Carolina. I want to give you some information now. Let me go over to our news channel here locally, and let me give you some information here.
Interleague rehab starts before joining the team sometime in April.
That wasn't it. Yes, I love the Padres. Apparently they're playing here in North Carolina today. The Padres are my baseball team from San Diego. Used to watch them all the time there. Sorry, we're not going to watch that tonight. Let me give you some information about the fires myself, because apparently the news channel is not talking about the fires like I thought they were. The fires here in North Carolina and South Carolina are still burning out of control. There are mandatory evacuations being ordered in Pickens County, South Carolina, and the Table Rock fire continues to burn. We also have the Polk fire here at the southern border of North Carolina out to the west. Due to the fire at Table Rock State Park, evacuation orders have been issued in Transylvania County, North Carolina. Shelters change here. There's a shelter change here. Transylvania County has moved all fire evacuation shelters to the Recreational Department located at 1078 Equestra Road. 1078 Equestra, ECUSTA Road. 1078 ECUSTA Road. Recreation Department and Health Department personnel are standing by to assist, along with security staff from the Sheriff's Office. At this time, we're mandating evacuations for Big Hill Community, Dolly Masters Road, Glady Fork Road, Lake Honda, and Happy Acres Community. We have crews going door to door in those areas to notify residents as well. All who are evacuating, please report to Cars Hill Church. Cars, C-A-R-S Hill Church. That will be a temporary location, and the Transylvania County is working on opening up an emergency shelter as well. The Cars Hill Church is a great place. There are a lot of people already over there, but they're still accepting evacuees, so please go there. It's mandatory, guys. Now, we will be updating evacuation orders as soon as possible for other affected areas. Greenville County evacuation area, I'm going to give you the roads that are evacuated. The people that live on these roads should be evacuated or should evacuate immediately. Table Rock Road, Matthews Creek Lane, River Rock Court, Ragsdale Road, Pipeline Road, Gintomo Road, Gintomo Road, Hagood, Hagood Road, Lakemont Road, Caesars Head Highway, Sky Ranch Road, Asbury Drive, Laurel Drive, Saluda Hill Church Road, Gear Highway, Burgess Road, Gray Logs Trail, Caesars Point, River Rock Court, Spring Park Drive, North Lake Drive, Trails End, Boy Scout Road, Seven Bark Lane, Larkspur Lane, Table Rock Road Extension, Mount Laurel Drive, Birch Bend, Sourwood Lane, Conifer Falls Road, Hemlock Trail, Cliff Ridge Drive, Rhododendron, Trillium Way, Chestnut BLF, Echo Drive Extension, Jack Ray Drive, Southside Drive, Sunrise Drive, Upper Oil Camp, Woodbine, Columbine Way, Old Springfield Road, Rosemont Road, Burgess Road, Lookoff Trail Drive, Lookoff Drive, Club Terrace Drive, Wildcat Road, Punkatatum Place, Punctatum Place, Point of View Lane, Happy Acres Road, the Pickens County Evacuation Area by Roads, Asia Road, ASIA space LI Lane, Bergson Trail, Blue Mountain Way, Bluff Ridge Road, Bobcat Drive, Bridle Drive, Caesar's Head Highway, Cherry Blossom Lane, Cold Mountain View, Cougar Trail, Cripple Creek Road, Kurtz Way, CURTS Way, Dogwood Mountain Road, Dry Lake Road, Duckwood Lane, Elizabeth Drive, Fast Lane, Fishhawk Road, Green Acres Road, Hardin Road, HARDIN Road, Hardwood Lane, Highway 11, Ledge Road, Locust Ride, I believe it's called RDG, Locust RDG, Misty Mountain Way, Mulligan Ford Hill Road, Pumpkin Lane, Pumpkin Mountain Road, Ravencliff Road, Raven Court, Ridge Springs Road, River Bluff Road, River Road, Rock Crest Road, Rockview Court, Rocky Road, ROCKY Road, S. Saluda Road or South Saluda Road, Saluda Hill Road, Saluda Shore Drive, Trinity Trail, Wayside Drive, Wildbrook Drive, Winding Trail, Waterwalk Trail, WOTAWOK Trail. Now, guys, these are mandatory areas that need to be evacuated immediately. The sheriff's office is going door to door in some areas to help people get evacuated. Now, this is mandatory, guys. Mandatory. We're trying to save people's lives here. That's why we gave you these specific roads that are supposed to be evacuated. Just a few minutes ago, I gave you the evacuation places you can go to get some help. Carrs Hill Church, Transylvania County is also working on opening up an emergency shelter. They will be evacuating and updating evacuation orders as soon as possible for the affected areas. We will pass on this information as soon as we possibly get it. Okay? I told them this morning and this afternoon again that we'd pass on this information for our show. We have a lot of people here living in North and South Carolina, and that is why we're passing it on. So please do that. Please do that. Does anybody have any questions about the fires in Polk County here in North Carolina or Table Rock Park in South Carolina? These are mandatory evacuation areas. Any questions yet? Brugfish Hen is talking about a fire over in Oregon. Oregon set overhead hand crews and equipment. Okay? Now, I want to go back and cover an earthquake that happened south of the South Island of New Zealand early yesterday morning and late Monday night. Okay, I want to go back and talk about that. Over in New Zealand, we had a 6.8, 7.5 earthquake on the southern part of the island, of the South Island down there, just south of the South Island there. On this map, it points that out. Folks, there is some interesting information here. We've talked many times before on this program over the last 6 years about a megathrust earthquake off the coast of Washington State here in the United States. Well, guess what? That earthquake on Monday night, Tuesday morning, south of the South Island of New Zealand was a megathrust earthquake. It was a 7.2 megathrust earthquake. USGS downgraded from a 7.0, and I pulled all the detailed information on it. It was a 7.2 major earthquake. They downgraded to a 6.8 and then downgraded again to a 6.4. It was not. It was a 7.2 major earthquake just south of the South Island of New Zealand. Okay? This was a 6.8, 7.2 earthquake. Okay? They had it at 6.8, they downgraded to 6.4. Like I said, I put all the information together. It was a 7.2 earthquake. Now, whether it was a 7.2 or a 6.8, I'm going to leave that question all up in the air right now. The main takeaway is this. Everyone seems to agree that this area is very complicated. That's what it is. It's complicated. There's a lot of data that is pretty uncertain. That's because very few people have even explored this area of the world when it comes to earthquakes. This area is also an area of active research, with new information being processed and discovered on a regular basis. Now, I think this fits pretty well with the projection of a megathrust earthquake to greater depths. A megathrust earthquake to greater depths. Well, guess what? This was a fairly shallow earthquake. This earthquake was a very shallow earthquake. Let me put this up here. Look at this. USGS said it was a 10.0 kilometer depth, 6.2 miles in the American miles. Okay, 10 kilometer depth. But look at the topography of the bottom of the seafloor. Look at the topography of the bottom of the seafloor, the crust of the earth here. Look over to the left here on the bottom. There's a fault there, the Australian fault. In this area, the Australian fault to the west of New Zealand is subducting under the Pacific plate. Here by the South Island, the Australian plate is subducting underneath the Pacific plate. And we need to also say this. At the north part of New Zealand, the Pacific plate is subducting there under the Australian plate. So it's twisting. It's twisting, ladies and gentlemen. The plates are twisting. One is subducting under the south end of the island, South Island, and the other to the north is subducting. The Australian plate is subducting under the North American plate. So down south, the Pacific plate is subducting under the Australian plate. Up north, it's the other way around. So the plates are actually twisting in this area. Okay? Twisting action. This was a 10-kilometer deep quake. Very shallow quake. That's why down south in New Zealand, there were a bunch of people that felt that quake. Very near the south part of South Island, there was 31 people that felt that quake down there. To the north. The north end of the South Island is pretty well populated with Christchurch and other communities to the north part of the South Island. Further south over on the North Island, several people said they felt that earthquake Monday night, Tuesday morning up there. Only a handful up there, about 5 people up to the North Island. Now, we want to say this. It's very hard for me to believe that 2,000 miles separates the southern part of the South Island and the north part of the North Island. It's very hard for me to believe that 5 people felt the earthquake up top, up to the north. They said it was very light shaking up there, where down south it was very violently shaking. That would be normal. That would be very normal for a major 7.2 megathrust earthquake there. Okay? Violent shaking on the southern part of the South Island. This was about 62 kilometers offshore from the South Island. Major megathrust earthquake there. Okay? I want to tell you that because we've been talking about a megathrust earthquake off of Washington State in the United States. Now, if this had been a deeper quake, we could understand the megathrust concept. But here in this shallow area, we need to say it was a megathrust earthquake. And the reason it was is because the plates are twisting here. At the far north of New Zealand, the Pacific plate is going over the top of the Australian plate. Down south, it's the other way around. The Pacific plate is subducting under the Australian plate. Unreal. Totally unreal. And I've never even noticed this before. Scientists are just figuring this out themselves. That is one reason this was such a violent quake down south. Okay? It was purely crazy. Purely crazy. There was no lead up to this quake. There was no lead up to this quake. Okay? There was no tremors at all. All of a sudden the earth started shaking. And there was not just one earthquake. There was also a 6.9 earthquake. The USGS said didn't happen. But the people over in New Zealand said it did. 2 earthquakes. One was a 6.9, very strong earthquake. The other one was a 7.2 major earthquake. Okay? There were also a bunch of aftershocks. 8 good-sized aftershocks ranging in size from 3.5 small quake all the way up to 5.6 large quake. Okay? That's a big deal. It's huge. It's huge. The entire country of New Zealand sits on a complex plate boundary, as you can imagine by what I've told you right now. Okay? The plates are twisting. Okay? The active faults come out of Fiji and Tonga. The active faults come out of Fiji and Tonga. On this particular diagram here, up north you can see the Fiji fault system coming down into the North Island of New Zealand, while the Tongan Trench comes down the east side of the North Island, and then it cuts over to the west after it gets past the North Island. Okay? The Tongan Trench cuts down across the south or the North Island and goes into the South Island over to the west. Okay? That's how the whole plate is twisting. That's why the whole plate is twisting. These two plates are both trying to slide past each other and converge. And the resulting faults are a bit of a mess. In the north, the North Pacific plate is subducting westward beneath the Australian plate at the Kermadec Trench. In the south, the directions are completely reversed, like I said. The Australian plate is subducting eastward beneath the Pacific plate at the POSSILE Trench. Down south, it's POSSILE Trench. As you can see, it says the Alpine Fault down there, and down there south of there is what they call the POSSILE Trench, PUYSEGUR Trench. Now, as you might expect, this has led to a huge development of pretty impressive array of faults. Pretty impressive array of faults between these two subduction areas. Unreal. I didn't know this till earlier this morning. That's why I wanted to share with you. We haven't seen this before up to the Pacific Northwest. But I want to make sure you saw this. I believe this is very important. Sleeping Volcano, thank you for helping Richard Smith put up the earthquakes here. 3.9 earthquake, 6 kilometers al norte del Paso, Canoas, Costa Rica. That's important. There are 18 earthquakes in the southern, or in the Central America region. 18 earthquakes. USGS is not showing any of them. Nothing. And by the way, remember that earthquake that happened over in northern Chile last night? Richard Smith talked about it. USGS is only showing one quake. They're only showing one quake of 5.7. It was a 5.9, 6.0. 5.9, 6.0. Incredible. Incredible. Any questions? I know what I've said, trying to explain this here in New Zealand is quite fascinating and also just quite, shall I say, almost disturbing to think about. How tectonic plates would actually twist. How tectonic plates would actually twist. It's hard to understand, but it's happening. It's happening. Any questions? Now, Brokefish is also talking about some weather in the Pacific Northwest. Last night we talked about a storm coming into the Pacific, or coming off the Pacific into the Pacific Northwest of Washington and Oregon. We're talking about large hail. A lot of hail over on the western side of Washington and Oregon. And a lot of rain. Possible tornado risk as well. The Pacific Northwest does not often get weather like that. But that's what's going on. That's what's happening there. It's almost a little crazy, in fact. Brofish says unprecedented weather setup brewing with potential supercells, large hail tornadoes threatening western Oregon and Washington today. Yeah, we talked about it last night. Totally bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. Yes, Washington and Oregon get a lot of rain. That comes out of Alaska. Comes out of the Gulf of Alaska and literally barrels into Washington, Oregon, and the southwestern part of Canada as well. Unreal. Unreal. And now to get tornadoes possible, that almost never happens there. Lyndon Covington says the Tasmanian devil lives in New Zealand. Yeah. Hurricane Heather says she needs to walk her puppy before the storm. Yes, please do that. Please be careful, Heather. We love you. We love you. Hurricane Heather has been one of my mods here literally forever. She's a great sister, she's a great lady, and a great worker here on our channel. We appreciate her very much. We appreciate all of our mods. All of our mods are awesome. They're very awesome. They keep this program on the air. Without it, the trolls would remain victorious, and we can't have that. We can't have that. But we appreciate all of our mods here today. We appreciate all of you here as well. Anyway, and Sage Pup is here. Welcome, Sage Pup. Sage Pup is also one of my best friends here. We appreciate Sage Pup as well. Now, before we get going on the earthquakes over in the New Madrid Fault, yes, we're primarily going to talk about the New Madrid Fault tonight. Okay? So if you have any questions about the New Madrid, write them down here in the chat and we'll discuss them in just a minute. Now, come April. This is not April Fool's either. What I'm going to tell you right now has nothing to do with April Fool's. On April 5th, the Democrats here in America are organizing a protest. They're organizing a protest and a riot. They're trying to get rid of President Trump. They're organizing a protest across this country. trying to start things against President Trump. As you already know, during the past 2 weeks, domestic terrorists here in America have tried burning down Tesla dealerships. 3 of them have been caught. All 3 of them are now facing up to 20 years in prison. 20 years in prison because of their stupidity. They've also tried torching vehicles. One idiot, and I saw the video last night, I'm not going to share it because I believe the police don't want us to share it because it shows the person's face who did it. The person went around this Tesla vehicle driven by this woman, drove around her, had been honking and trying to push her in the back of her car. He finally drove around her and pulled out ahead of her and stopped in the middle of the roadway. Then he got out. This idiot got out of his car and started yelling at the woman, "Get rid of your Tesla, sell your Tesla, get rid of it, or we're going to make sure it's destroyed." They're picking on citizens now. They're picking on citizens, telling them that they're going to destroy their vehicles. It's unreal what these domestic terrorists are up to. They're all Democrats. Just up until 18 weeks ago, the Democrat Party was pushing for electric cars, electric-powered cars to fit their agenda, the green agenda. The green agenda, as I've talked about before, is trash. Trash. Okay? Calling for green, electric this, electric that, no more gas-powered vehicles at all. Trash. They said there was climate change. There's not climate change at all. Climate change is cyclical. It has nothing to do with cars or anything else. The Democrat Party here in America and elsewhere was saying there's too much CO2 caused by cars. Well, guess what? That's a lie as well. And also, guess what? Something else. The trees and plants on our earth depend on CO2. The trees and shrubs and other plants around this planet absorb the CO2 gas in our air. They clean our gas. They clean our air. That's why we can breathe, is because of our plants here on this earth. They turn the CO2 into oxygen. And yet the Democrats want to say something else. They say we're killing our planet. They're full of crap. They're trying to push electric cars, and now they're trying to burn them down because they don't like the man who started building the electric cars, Elon Musk. Now, something else. Guess what? Our Attorney General, Pam Bondi, said she's going to prosecute these domestic terrorists. And she's already doing that with 3 that they've caught. These protesters that are going out on April 5th are being paid to be there. They're being paid by the Democrat Party through guess who? George Soros. George Soros, guys. Unreal. George Soros is a multi-billionaire in this world. Multi-billionaire. George Soros has been funding the voter campaigns for attorney generals around this country and paying for them being elected. George Soros funded the Biden campaign. George Soros funded Kamala Harris's campaign as well. Otherwise, she would not have even been able to run. Unreal. Unreal. But now George Soros is funding this protest that's supposed to happen on January 5th, or April 5th. April 5th. Now, if it turns into a riot like the police believe it's going to, there will be arrests. The radical lefts are taken to the streets funded by none other but the George Soros Foundation. Protesters are coming in long distances and are getting paid to protest. And I will bet you this. I will bet you most of them don't even know what they're protesting. That's been the case before. That's been the case before. And as Brokefish N said here in the chat, it's all BS. Because, guess what? Elon Musk only owns 10% of Tesla. The rest is owned by investors. The Democrats don't know what they're even doing. They're going off half-cocked. And if something happens, if people are hurt or property is destroyed, these protesters are going to go to jail. Plain and simple. President Trump signed a Domestic Terrorist Act. If anybody's out of this country, they will be shipped back, deported back to their home countries. If there anybody here that lives here in the United States, they're going to go to jail. So leftists, think about it. Think about it. And please don't pick on people that you don't know who they are. Because some of us are armed. Some of us people are armed. We have concealed weapons. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you put our lives in danger, you're going to regret it. The police will get you, and that wonderful man, Sheriff Grady in Florida, will get you. You hurt anybody, you hurt one of their cops, kill one of their cops, you're going down. You're going down. Hurt one of my members of my family, my dear friends next to me, you're going down. Plain and simple. Won't tolerate it. Won't tolerate it. Okay? Yesterday, President Trump signed several more executive orders. Guess what one of them was? An order ordering all federal elections to be voted by voters who can prove their citizenship before they're allowed to vote. They must have ID in order to vote. If you're illegal, you can't vote. Plain and simple. Tom Patoga says, Ron, can Elon start a holding cell on Pluto? Oh, I would love that. Put him on Pluto. Put him on Pluto. Get him out of our country. Put him on Pluto, 9 planets away from us, deep out into the solar system. Let him protest out there. Unreal. Unreal. Richard says, welcome to Earth, the flying circus. Pretty much. Pretty much. This way, if Trump is able to do it, just maybe we'll get some honest elections here in this country. And hopefully it's not just federal elections as well. State elections should also be ID only. ID only. Pam Miller says, can we send Uncle George back to Hungary? We don't want him anymore. I agree. It's interesting to note, George Soros got married. Guess who planned and helped him plan his wedding? Bill and Hillary Clinton. Bill and Hillary Clinton in New York. Send George Soros packing. Get him the hell out of this country. He doesn't belong here. Get him out. Make sure none of his money is able to be here in the United States at all. And maybe, just maybe, the United States needs to put a kibosh on his money. If we find accounts that he's trying to bully in here into this country, maybe we need to freeze that money so he can no longer fund anybody to do anything. Now, it should also be noted, about 3 weeks ago, George Soros bought 200 radio stations here in this country. Why? To put up Democrat communist propaganda. To put up Democrat communist propaganda on our radio stations. Yeah, that's right. Unreal. Send him to Pluto. Send Soros to Pluto. That's what he deserves. Incredible. Incredible. Does anybody have any questions about anything we talked about? I want to make sure we understand what we're talking about. Okay? Now, let's talk about earthquakes. Let's talk about earthquakes on the New Madrid Fault. Guess what I'm showing you now? One of the earthquakes that happened over in Pawnee, Illinois. Look what's going on. Even on the north side of the New Madrid Fault, Illinois and Indiana, we're having earthquakes, aren't we? North side of the New Madrid Fault, we're having earthquakes. Here, you see tremors. Nothing more than good-sized tremors. 1.4, 1.6 tremors here. Pawnee, Illinois. Last week when we showed you this, we had earthquakes as well. 2.0 earthquakes here in Illinois. Unreal, huh? Absolutely is. Absolutely is. I'm going to try to show you earthquakes from the north part of the New Madrid Fault south to Louisiana. So bear with me here. Let's go over to Evansville, Illinois. Evansville, Indiana. Look at this. Okay? A few weeks back, the New Madrid Fault wasn't producing much of anything. Hardly any tremors or earthquakes at all. As of 3 weeks ago, all of a sudden it started coming up again. Here in Evansville, Indiana, this seismograph is showing us tremors here. Constant tremors. At the top black line on this particular seismograph, it's 12 midnight. You can see some tiny tremors here, long duration tremors. As of 2:45 on this green line, or not 2:45, 1:45 on this green line this morning, we have long duration tremor here. Over 15 minutes long. Over 15 minutes long. At the height of this tremor here, it was a 1.2 tremor. Then it went back down for several hours. Then early this morning, after about 6:30, the tremor started increasing. And as you see, all morning long the tremors got larger. All morning long the tremors got larger. Let me show you here in Evansville, Indiana this afternoon. What happened here this afternoon? Look at this. The tremors continued, didn't they? The tremors continued. That's what we're going to see throughout this presentation. Earthquakes and tremors are going to continue, and you're going to see large earthquakes as well. You're going to see large earthquakes here as well. Now, we have many people that live here on the New Madrid Fault. I don't want to get anybody too excited that they may not have a house to live in. I do not believe that you're going to have to move out of these areas anytime soon. But sometime within the next 2 years, the New Madrid Fault is going to pop. The New Madrid Fault is going to pop. The last time the New Madrid Fault opened up was 1811, 1812. December 1811 into January 1812. Huge deal. At the time, the scientists believed it was a 7.0 major earthquake. Now the scientists here are saying it was at least an 8.0 or larger earthquake here on the New Madrid Fault. The New Madrid Fault stretches from the Gulf of America to the south all the way up to the Great Lakes. Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. That's a long distance. Some 1,500 miles. Guess what? It's moving. It's moving all over the place. Let's go over to Missouri. I want to show you what's going on in Missouri. Okay? You need to see this. It's crazy, guys. It's crazy. Let's go over to Barker Cemetery in Missouri. Look at this. 3.0 earthquakes here. 3.0 earthquakes here, multiple 3.0 earthquakes here in Barker Cemetery. We've never seen this before. We have never ever seen this before. Yes, we're seeing tremors here as well. But we're seeing 3.0 earthquakes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 3.0 earthquakes. Yes, there are some minor earthquakes, 2.0, 2.4 earthquakes here as well. But 7 3.0 earthquakes here this morning. That's insane. That's insane, guys. But it's happening. It's happening. And you need to be aware of it. You need to be very much aware of it. It's going to continue. This will continue. Now, when I opened up this series of seismographs here, I noted that I did not see Barker Cemetery this afternoon. I'm going to put it in here right now. I want to show you this because it wasn't just this morning. This was not just this morning. This is continuing to happen. This energy is moving. It's ongoing. Let me show you Barker Cemetery this afternoon. Right here. Look at this. 4 more 3.0 earthquakes here. That makes a total of 11 3.0 small earthquakes here in Barker Cemetery. I'm going to tell you right now, I've been watching Barker Cemetery and the other locations that I'm showing you tonight for about 5 years now. 4 years ago, we were only seeing tremors here, tiny little tremors that people couldn't feel. Now these 3.0 large earthquakes, people can actually feel them. 4 years later, from tremors to full-blown earthquakes in 4 years. What's going to happen in the next 2 years? Like I said, I believe that the pneumatic fault is going to pop. There will be another major earthquake here on the pneumatic fault. Now, I've done a lot of research here. I was down on the pneumatic fault on 2011.
Location, Panama, Costa Rica.
Back on August, I believe it was August 11th,
45 minutes ago.
2011. On the 200th anniversary. It wasn't January, but it was August. On the 200th year anniversary of the pneumatic fault going off. The Monday that we started the earthquake drill, there were 3 3.0 earthquakes on the pneumatic fault that day. 2011. There was a 3.2, there was a 3.4, and there was a 3.5. Northeastern Jonesboro, Arkansas. Over towards Tulsa, Oklahoma, on the pneumatic fault, and over in Missouri as well. 3 small earthquakes happened for the first time. That was 2011. After that, all we saw were tremors for years, but now we're seeing 3.0 earthquakes all the time. All the time, every day here on the pneumatic fault. Let me show you other locations also here in Missouri. You ought to see this. This is important. Okay? How about Dogwood, Missouri this morning? This is over in the central part of Missouri. The central part of the New Madrid Fault. Look what's happened here. Okay? Yes, we start off with tiny tremors here. 1.0, 1.1 tremors. Then look what happened after 8 a.m. this morning. The tremors got larger, didn't they? All of a sudden we had 2.0 minor earthquakes. After that it became 2.5, 2.6, 2.7 minor earthquakes. Yes, there are a lot of tremors here. I'm going to show you more of this. Like I said, I was blown away with what I saw 3 weeks ago. But things got even more interesting now. This is Dogwood, Missouri this afternoon. Here we're seeing nothing but tremors. Nothing but tremors this afternoon. But guess what? I'm going to show you a lot more here. Let's look at Guam, Missouri. Guam, Missouri here. Here we're seeing tremors again. Long duration tremors leading up to 2.0, 2.4, 2.5, and 2.7 minor earthquakes. Yes, that's what we're seeing. But let me explore this seismogram just a little bit more. Look over here after 7:15 this morning on the red line. 0700 is 7 a.m. this morning on the black line. Just beneath that is a red line. That is 7:15. Just after 7:17 this morning, a 3.0 small earthquake. 3.0 small earthquake here in Guam, Missouri. After that, it went back to minor earthquakes 2.0, 2.9, and minor tremors. But we're seeing full-blown earthquakes here, guys. Full-blown earthquakes here. Things have gotten larger, haven't they? It's ongoing. Charlene is saying here in the chat, magnitudes in the New Madrid seismic zone are increasing along with their velocity. You're right. The number of earthquakes and the size of the earthquakes are increasing. They are increasing daily. Charlene says almost daily. I'm telling you right now, I'm seeing the strength and the number of earthquakes on the New Madrid Fault increasing daily. Not almost, but daily. It's happening. And yet, the preeminent seismic agency of the world, the United States Geological Survey, is not saying word one. I'm trying to show this to the world because nobody else is talking about it. Not one YouTuber, not one person on Rumble, nobody is talking about this except EMA. That's why it's so important to make sure all of your friends know about this channel. Make sure you share this channel with everybody. There are a lot of people here that live here around the New Madrid Fault. Back in the 1800s, when this earthquake let loose, back in the end of 2011, beginning of 2012. I don't think there were more than 1,000 people over 1,000 square miles. Very, very, very few people sparsely populated here. It was cattle country. The ranches all over the place. Guess what happened when the New Madrid Fault gave up and opened up? It halted the Mississippi River from flowing for 7 minutes. The back of the water of the Mississippi River stopped flowing, opened up a new lake called Reelfoot Lake. Reelefoote Lake. Reelfoot Lake. It's in existence still. It's still in existence. And who knows if there are farmers or even cabins that were down there in that area when the lake filled up. It's unknown. We know that people died. We know that there were people died. We don't know how many. But a lot of people died. Guess what? It's not over. This is far from over. Now this same area on the New Madrid Fault is densely populated. Very densely populated. From down in Louisiana north, Arkansas, Mississippi over on the east side, Tennessee to the north, Kentucky to the north, Arkansas on the west, going north we go into Oklahoma and Missouri. On the right hand side we go up into Illinois and Indiana. So, folks, there are 13 states. 13 states that are in danger here. It's a very densely populated area. When the New Madrid Fault gives up again, it won't be just 1,000, 2,000 people that are going to die or get injured. Millions upon millions of people are going to be injured or killed. Little Rock, Little River, Arkansas, New Madrid, Missouri, Marston, Missouri, Nashville, DeRidder, Louisiana, Pioneer, Louisiana, cities up and down the north to south end of Mississippi, cities up and down north to south in Tennessee and Kentucky as well, up into Indiana, over into Illinois and Ohio. Everybody along the Mississippi River is going to be affected. Everybody. But it's not over yet. Back in the day when this earthquake happened, there may have been some fires because some of the cabins were heated by candles and fires in a stove. That's how they heated and cooked their food. When the Mississippi River went over its banks and formed the river, it caused fires, but not many. The river flooding and into that lake, the fires went out. It's going to be completely different this time. Now we have natural gas pipelines up and down the entire fault, north to south, east to west. Not just natural gas pipelines, water pipelines, water mains up and down the entire fault line. Not going to be any water. This area is going to be densely populated. As the earthquake happens, it's going to open up gas mains. Gas mains and gas lines are going to burst. There's going to be fires. But in this case, there's hardly any water to fight the fires. The fires that happen as a result of the New Madrid Fault opening up are going to have to be fought by air. Helicopters and planes dropping air loads of water and fire retardant on the fires. The roads are going to be blocked. There's going to be great big fissures open up in the roadways. In many cases, the roadways that we have now along the New Madrid Fault, both on the east and the west side, are paved over cow paths. Paved over cow paths. When the pneumatic fault first opened up, caused fissures, great big holes in the ground opened up. The roads became impassable. The same thing's going to happen again. So we're not going to be able to get law enforcement or security or even the National Guard in except for plane loads and or helicopter loads of personnel to guard and provide security for people that live there. Medical personnel are also going to have to be flown in because the roads are going to be impassable. All kinds of destruction. I'm trying to paint this picture so you understand exactly what we're talking about. Okay? I don't want to paint a bad picture here, but that's what's going to happen. I want people to really realize what we're talking about here. This is going to be a major earthquake. And as you can see through these seismograms I'm showing you, this is getting real. The number of earthquakes are increasing, and the strength of these earthquakes are also increasing. Let's continue with these seismograms now. Again, this is Guam, Missouri this morning. Let me show you Guam, Missouri this afternoon. It's increasing, huh? And the strength of these earthquakes also increased today. The strength of these earthquakes also increased today. The top line on this particular seismogram is 12 noon today. At about 12:06 p.m. today, 2.0, 2.5, and 2.8 earthquakes here. Yes, these are minor earthquakes, nobody felt them. But as I said, earthquakes are getting larger, and the number of earthquakes are increasing. This is minor to compare to what is going to happen, that's already happening in some areas, is going to happen and continue to get bigger here in this area. Even after last week, the number of earthquakes have increased, and the size of these earthquakes have also increased. I'm trying to show you that. I'm trying to show you that. This is serious. This is very serious. Let me show you Kewanee, Missouri. Kewanee, Kewanee, Missouri. Look at this. Last week here we showed you tremors and a handful of earthquakes. Now look at this. Yes, we have microquakes. Yes, we're seeing tremors here, especially at the bottom of this seismogram. But look here after 2 a.m. over here on the right-hand side. 2:12 this morning. Tremors leading up to a 2.0 earthquake, and that seismic energy got larger. At 2:01 a.m., 2.5, 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. Then it started winding down after 2. Actually, I'm sorry, that's not 2. It's 2:15 this morning here on the left-hand side on the red line. 2:01, 2.5, 2.6 earthquake. Then it starts winding down. It takes 3.5 minutes for that seismic signal to wind down. It started over here on the right-hand side. 1:10 this morning. It wound down after 2:05 this afternoon, or this morning, 2:05 this morning. A 9-minute long earthquake. A 9-minute long earthquake. Then over here on this blue line, on the left-hand side on the blue line, it would show 3:30. Over here on the right-hand side, We have tremors building up after approximately 3:37. 3:37, 3:38, 3:39, 3:40, 3:41, 3:42, 3:43. Now we're seeing a 1.8 tremor here at 3:43. 3:45. We're seeing 2.2, 2.4, 2.5 earthquakes. 2:45 this morning. 2.7, 2.8 earthquakes. Then after 3:45 this morning on the green line on the left-hand side. Now we're talking 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes. Just before 3:48. The strength of the earthquakes has increased here. After 3:47, the seismic waves started calming down. It's called a secondary wave. Just before 3:47, it started winding down. 3:48, 3:49, and into 3:50. This seismic sequence lasted 9 minutes. Now, folks, I'm going to show you in a few minutes 3.0 and 3.5 earthquakes that last the same length of time. How would you like to feel earthquakes shaking your floor? Hearing your dishes and glasses rattle together in your cupboards or fall out of your cupboards? Knickknacks falling off of shelves, books falling off of shelves, your dog and cat freaking out, or any other animals that you have in your home freaking out, and the floor shaking. 10 minutes worth of shaking. Yes, that's what you're going to feel. At the bottom of this seismogram this morning, just before 10 a.m., all of a sudden we just have tremors. After these earthquakes here this morning, it calmed down to just tremors and microquakes. Then it starts picking up just after 9:30 this morning. Tremors again. Kewanee, Missouri. Let me show you Kewanee, Missouri this afternoon. This is this afternoon. Here this afternoon, after 12:45 on the left-hand side. Over here at 12:49 this afternoon. Yes, we have tremors. Those tremors started picking up to 2.0, 2.2, 2.3 earthquakes, minor earthquakes that you're not going to feel. Then it wound down. It wound down. It started picking up tremors just after 1:47 this afternoon, 1:47 this afternoon. It wound down finally at 2 p.m. this afternoon. Again, just over 10 minutes worth of shaking. This is what you're going to see. This is what you're going to feel, guys. This is what you're going to see and feel. It's going to get much worse. It's going to get much worse. Let me go over to Dogwood, Missouri this morning. Actually, I've already showed you Dogwood, I'm sorry. Let's go over to Marston, Missouri this afternoon. This morning, nothing happened. Nothing happened at all in Marston, Missouri this morning. But look what happened here this afternoon. Tiny tremors. And the tremors build up this afternoon. Look what happened after 3:30 this afternoon. Tremors built up, didn't they? Again, the seismic energy is building, guys. The seismic energy is building here. Okay, let's continue this conversation here. Let's go take a look at New Madrid, Missouri. New Madrid, Missouri is at the fork of the river. Okay? It goes almost directly north until it gets to about New Madrid. Then it cuts over to the east a little bit. And then it goes north again. This is where it cuts over to the east, New Madrid, Missouri. Let me show you this. Look at this. Here, it's just tremors. Now, I've done my research here. When this earthquake let loose in 1811, New Madrid, Missouri was a mess. The New Madrid, Missouri area here was huge. Shaking originated from this area, up and down the entire fault line. There were buildings that would collapse here. There were sawmills here along the Mississippi River. They collapsed. Hotels collapsed. There had been an influx in people that came in from other countries, Italy and other countries, to help people here in the United States. Some of them worked at the sawmill. Others worked at other restaurants and other hotels. Guess what? The buildings collapsed. Pam Miller just joined EMA here. 1. Thank you for joining here, Pam. We appreciate you. We appreciate you a lot. Folks, this is New Madrid. You see the seismic energy here. It's incredible, isn't it? This is just tiny. This is just tiny. This is a very small representation of what we're going to expect here. A very small representation of what we're going to expect here. Let's look at Portage Open Bay, Missouri here. Look at this. Again, tiny tremors and microquakes earlier today. Then after 8:15 this morning, the tremors and earthquakes began. After 9:30, more tremors. 10 a.m. this morning, 2.9, 3.0 earthquake here. 10 a.m. this morning, 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. No joke. Look at the other tremors and earthquakes here.
Location Andrianoff Island, Solution Island, Class Lake, magnitude 4.0, 15 minutes ago.
At 11:32 this morning, 2.6, 2.7 earthquake, minor earthquake. You drop down one line to the green line here, over here to the right. This is 11:55 a.m. this morning. Tremors and minor earthquakes here. Portage Open Bay, Missouri. This is on the New Madrid Fault, on the west side of the New Madrid Fault. This is the center of the New Madrid Fault. Let me show you Portage Open Bay, Missouri this afternoon. The tremors and earthquakes didn't stop. They continued. Here we're seeing tremors, 1.0, 1.1 tremors here. We're also seeing 2.4, 2.5. And over here on the right-hand side, after 1:15 on the left-hand side over here, it's 1:26, 1:27. 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes. We're seeing tremors and minor earthquakes here the rest of the day. At 4:30 this afternoon, 4:41 this afternoon, 2.8, 2.9 earthquake again. Yes, we've had tremors here and minor earthquakes before. Now there's more of them. Demon Catman made a joke yesterday about this place looking like crayons. Crayons are once again drawn for battle. Pretty much. Pretty much. I just began to fight this thing. Let's go to Portisville, Missouri this morning. Like I said, up at the top here at midnight, microquakes and tiny 1.0 tremors. That's it. And then occasionally we'd have a 1.1 tremor here pop up. Even after 2 a.m., 2:01 a.m. this morning. What happened after 7 a.m. this morning? Actually before 7 a.m. this morning on the green line on the right. Tremors started building up at approximately 6:55 this morning. 6:55 this morning. 1.1, 1.2 tremors. 6:59, 1.3 tremors. 7 a.m. The tremors got bigger, 1.3, 1.4. By 8 a.m. on the black line here, see the tremors build to minor earthquakes. 2.5, 2.7, 2.8 earthquakes there. And after that, it calms down again to full-blown tremors, where it completely covers the white of the background. We have digital seismographs now. Digital seismographs. In this case, it used to be paper before, now it's digital. In this case, the color here, the number of earthquakes and the tremors are totally covering the background. That's because of the number of tremors and earthquakes we've had. This number's in the hundreds. This number's in the hundreds, guys. Hurricane Heather says her mind is on the storm in the Pacific Northwest. I understand that. Yes, it's a horrific storm that's coming in. But this is going to be worse here. This is going to be worse. Let's look at Portisville, Missouri this afternoon. This afternoon we're having 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes this afternoon here. 12:30 this afternoon. Look at that. 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here. The people here must have been terrified this afternoon and this morning. These are the biggest earthquakes that we've seen here. These are the biggest earthquakes that we've seen here. Like I said, the seismic activity is increasing here. The seismic activity is increasing. I kid you not. Let's go and look at St. John's Bayou. St. John's Bayou here. Literally all this morning, until after 8:30 this morning. At about 8:11 this morning, 3.0 earthquake that lasted almost 30 seconds. 20 to 30 seconds. 3.0 small earthquake. Yes, there are people that felt this earthquake. Like I said, the seismic activity has increased here in Missouri and up and down the entire fault. Has increased. Let's look at St. John's, Missouri here this afternoon. Here we're seeing tremors. Out of this small quake this morning, we're seeing nothing but tremors here. Yes, I believe there may have been some 2.0 earthquakes here as well. This is the west side of the Mississippi River, the west side of the New Madrid Fault. Guess what? There's more. There's more. I want to go over south into DeRidder, Louisiana. This is the southern end of the New Madrid Fault. Here we're seeing nothing but tremors here this morning. But the number of tremors are increasing here. The numbers of tremors are increasing here, guys. It's getting big. It's going to get a lot bigger. Let me show you DeRidder, Louisiana this afternoon. Look at this. This afternoon we may have had at least two 2.0 earthquakes. 2.0 minor earthquakes here. Okay? Let's continue this discussion here. Let's go to Pioneer, Louisiana, even south. Even more south. Right here. We're having tremors here. You see, just after 8:45 this morning, we have some long duration tremors, don't we? But tremors nonetheless. The number of tremors here are increasing as well. Increasing over what we've had last week, that I showed you last week. It's increasing. This is Pioneer, Louisiana this afternoon. Fairly quiet this afternoon, huh? Let's go over to Mississippi. Oh, crud. I'm sorry I didn't bring over the one from Mississippi. Darn. Darn. Well, you know, I've got it here. Vicksburg, Mississippi. This is the east side of the New Madrid Fault here. Look at this. There's even movement here on the east side of the New Madrid Fault here. Vicksburg, Mississippi. These are tremors here. These are tremors here. Let's go on. I want to go over to Tennessee now. I want to go over to Tennessee. Let's go over to Hopper, Tennessee. Again, the east side of the New Madrid Fault. Hopper, Tennessee, weeks ago was just nothing but tremors. Now we've graduated to 2.0, 2.5, 2.6, possibly even 2.7 earthquakes here. Yes, these are minor earthquakes still, and nobody's going to feel them. But the seismic activity has increased, and the number of earthquakes has increased, and the strength of these earthquakes have also increased here. Hopper, Tennessee. Let me show you Hopper, Tennessee this afternoon. This is proving my point. Look what happened this afternoon. Yes, we had tremors and minor earthquakes this afternoon or this morning. Now it's increased. It's increased. Just after 12:46 p.m. this afternoon, on the red line, on the right-hand side, 3.0 earthquake. 3.0 earthquake. Let's drop down to 12:45 on the green line. Let's go over here to the center here. 12:09, 12:49, 12:50 this afternoon. Guess what? 3.2, 3.3 earthquake. 3.2, 3.3 earthquake here, guys. Again, the seismic activity has increased, and the strength of these earthquakes have also increased. You see another 3.0 earthquake just after 2:45 this afternoon. 251, 252 this afternoon. No joke. Then we come down here, 1, 2, 3, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 430, 434 this afternoon. Another 3.0 earthquake. Another 3.0 earthquake. It's moving, guys. The whole place is moving. The entire New Madrid Fault is moving here. This is the east side of the New Madrid Fault. No joke. No joke. Let's look at Ridgely, Tennessee. Weeks and weeks ago, we had a lot of activity in Ridgely, Tennessee. Things have calmed down here. You see nothing but tremors here in Ridgely, Tennessee this morning. No real earthquakes, but just tremors. Let's look at Ridgely, Tennessee this afternoon. Okay. I'm sorry there was nothing in Ridgely, Tennessee this afternoon. Let's go over to the University of Tennessee in Morganton, Tennessee this morning. Let's look at this. Here we're seeing nothing but tremors this morning. Morganton, Tennessee. Let's look at Morganton, Tennessee this afternoon. Look at this. Look at this afternoon. We had tremor activity, didn't we? After 106, or actually 105 this afternoon. Tremors. 1.4, 1.5 tremors here. Then later, I want to say 2:41 p.m. this afternoon. 2.0 earthquake. After 4, I'm going to say this is 4:25 this afternoon. 1.7, 1.8 tremor. It's still continuing, guys. It's still continuing. Morganton, Tennessee, the eastern side of the New Madrid Fault. The whole fault's moving. I'm showing you the entire fault is moving. Let's go over to Texas. All the way over into eastern Texas. Nacogdoches, Texas here. Look at this. Microquakes and tiny tremors earlier this morning. After midnight. Then we come over here at 10 a.m. on the black line. A tiny tremor. We come over here after 10:37 a.m. this morning. 2.2 earthquake. Then later, 2:44 p.m. right before 2:45, a 3.0 earthquake here. How quickly that seismic energy increased here. Went from tremors to a minor earthquake all the way to a 3.0 small earthquake. Very quickly, huh? I did not expect to see this in Nacogdoches, Texas. Yes, we've had tremor activity here in Nacogdoches, Texas before. Yes, we've had tremor activity here, but never anything like this, where it increases to a 3.0 earthquake here. That's what we're going to see. We're going to continue seeing this happen. One of my dear friends over in Utah, he's a mod here on this program his name Don Patoka. In physics, for every action, there is an opposite and yet equal reaction. Mess around and find out. On this channel, we talk a lot about disasters and emergencies. We talk about preparedness as well. Folks, this is serious. This is serious. We're seeing plate tectonic movement around the globe. That's one of the reasons I showed you what happened down in the southern part of New Zealand Monday night, Tuesday morning. It's all over the place. It's literally all over the place. And we're seeing it. We're seeing it happen everywhere. Now, folks, I'm going to take you over to the new, or not the new, but the USGS map here. The USGS map is supposed to be the preeminent seismic agency in the world, but they're not. They're not showing us even half of what's actually going on. Let me take down my mug here, and I took down our banner here, and let me open up the world to you and show you exactly what's going on. Okay? Down here in the Tonga, Fiji area, right here. 4.2 earthquake here. 4.2 earthquake here. Wallace Futuna, Fiji area. Moderate earthquake here. This is 386 kilometers deep. Still a very moderately deep quake. It's not very deep, but it's moderately deep. 4.2 earthquake here. This is a 4.4 earthquake. This is a very deep earthquake. This is 577 kilometers deep. This is going to propagate or build a stronger, more shallow quake. This 4.4 is going to propagate a 5.3, 5.4 earthquake within the next 3 to 10 days. A 5.3 to 5.4 earthquake here in this region within the next 3 to 10 days. This earthquake here that we're telling you it's going to propagate could also move over here to South America, to Chile or Argentina. It's happened before. It hasn't not happened recently, but it has happened before. This larger 5.3, 5-point earthquake could stay right here in this region. But could also move to the west. Could move over here to the Legacy Islands here. Could move west over to Vanuatu. Could move west over to Solomon Islands. Or even over to Papua New Guinea. Here in the Solomon Islands here is a 5.0 large earthquake. This is 10 kilometers deep. A shallow earthquake here, 10 kilometers deep. But it's a large earthquake. Let's zoom in here. This is 94 kilometers. 94 kilometers off the shore of Honorara, Solomon Islands. This is far enough offshore that I don't think that anybody here in the Solomon Island here felt it. It's possible they felt some tiny movement, but they did not feel the full large earthquake hit here. They could have. They could very well have been feeling this quake. It's happened before. It's happened before. It could happen again. We'll go further over here. This is Papua New Guinea. This is a 5.1 earthquake. Look where it hit. Again, offshore of Panguna, Papua New Guinea. A 5.1 earthquake here. Large earthquake. In both these cases, the Pacific Ocean absorbed the shockwaves of this quake. The Pacific Ocean absorbed the shockwaves of this quake. Let's go further east. We're still not going to get the truth of what's actually going on here because USGS is lying about the number of earthquakes. Further over here to the west, another 4.3 moderate earthquake here. This is 151 kilometers west-northwest of Panguna, Papua New Guinea. This is still further offshore. Nobody felt this earthquake at all. The Pacific Ocean waters absorbed the shockwaves of this quake. Let's go further west. Nothing here in Papua, Indonesia. Nothing. That's because there are earthquakes here and USGS doesn't want to show them to us for whatever reason. I don't get it. There are 24 earthquakes here in Indonesia. They're not showing but 2. They're showing us 2 here, over in eastern Java. This is a large 5.0 earthquake here. We've had numerous earthquakes here in the past little while. This is the large 5.0 earthquake here. This is 103 kilometers north of Labuan, Labuan, Indonesia. 5.0 earthquake. Right here. This is a 4.3 earthquake here, a moderate earthquake. Again, this is out in the Pacific Ocean. Right here. 88 kilometers north-northwest of Puputanano, Indonesia. Yes, I know I'm butchering the name, but I'm showing you where it's at. Look where these earthquakes are. These earthquakes are right along this earthquake fault. There are 7 different tectonic plates in play here. 7 different tectonic plates stretching from Tonga and Samoa to the east, down here to New Zealand, over here to Australia here, through Papua Indonesia, Solomon Islands, Papua Indonesia here, all the way over here into Indonesia here, going up into the Philippines, all the way up here into Taiwan, and all the way over here to Japan. 7 different tectonic plates. 7 different tectonic plates here, guys. What's going on here? Each one of these plates are subducting. Each one of these plates are subducting just like this. One plate underneath the other just like this. This is why we are having so many earthquakes here. And yes, USGS is not showing them all. Some time ago I had a woman write me from Indonesia asking me why we have earthquakes down here. That's the reason. 7 different tectonic plates, one subducting under the other in this region. And it's continuing. It's continuing. It's moving. And it will continue. It will continue. Rob 52 is talking about 1.5 earthquake up near San Francisco. East-northeast of Hayward, California, on the Hayward Fault. Yeah. San Francisco is getting hit with earthquakes on the Hayward, on the Calaveras, and westward on the San Andreas Fault. Northern California is getting hit. Central California is getting hit. Southern California is getting hit like I talked about last night. The whole place is crazy. The whole place is crazy. And I'm serious on that. I'm very serious. Over here in the Philippines, there are 6 earthquakes here in the Philippines, and they're not showing any of them. 2 earthquakes offshore east from Mindanao, Philippines here. One is a small quake and one is a moderate quake, and the others are just minor earthquakes. But earthquakes nonetheless. They're not showing them. They're showing one earthquake over here on the eastern shore of Luzon, Philippines here to the north. This is a 4.7 moderate earthquake here. 4.7 moderate earthquake here. 31 kilometers southeast of Suklayan, Philippines. Offshore. Again, the waters here of the ocean absorb the shockwaves of this quake. It's just a moderate quake. I don't think anybody here on Luzon, Philippines even felt this quake. But it's happening. We have more earthquakes up here in Japan. But again, they're not showing them. Why? Because they don't have to. On the USGS website, they even say they don't have to show anything. They only show what they want to show. Over here north of India, over here in Nepal, this is a 4.4 earthquake here. 4.4 moderate earthquake here. Yesterday we had 3 earthquakes here in this area. This is the edge of the plate. This is the edge of one of the tectonic plates here. That plate comes out of Indonesia way down here. Works its way through the Indian Ocean. Works its way through the Indian Ocean here. Just west of Sumatra, Indonesia here. Works its way up here through Myanmar, all the way up here into India, and over here into the Himalaya Mountains here. That's how this all works. There are earthquakes in China. There are earthquakes over here northwest of India. Afghanistan, Tajikistan, and that. I can't even say it, Kakistan, I think it's called. Earthquakes here. Again, this is because this is where the plates move. This is how the plates move. There's an earthquake fault coming through southern Iran here. Seismic energy moves there. There are earthquakes here that they're not showing. Also, there is one side of the plate here. There is an earthquake fault that stretches from Kazakhstan, Afghanistan region over here to the Caspian Sea. And through the Caspian Sea over here into Syria. That's how it works. Then we come over here to the Syria-Turkey border region. There are 21 earthquakes here. 21 earthquakes here in the Syria-Turkey border region. Why? Why are they not shown? These are aftershocks of a major earthquake that hit here 2 years ago. February 3rd, 2023. We had a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that struck here. 5,000 plus people killed. 5,000 plus people injured. And we're still getting aftershocks today, over 2 years later. That's what happens when you have a major earthquake such as this. This is the same thing we're going to see when the Cascadia earthquake hits in the Pacific Northwest, sometime within the next 5 years. I don't think it will be any more than 5 years. There's about, I want to go over here to Turkey. Over here to Turkey. There are about 14 earthquakes here in Turkey. Northern Turkey and southern Turkey. And even over here in western Turkey. Then we come over here in the Aegean Sea. Over here in the Aegean Sea we have even more earthquakes. Why? These are the Dokanese Islands. They belong to Greece. Here in the Dokanese Islands we have a couple earthquake faults, but even more so, we have magma moving beneath the surface here. Magma moving beneath the ocean here in the Aegean Sea here in the crust. Magma is forcing its way through the bedrock. Yes, we have numerous volcanoes in this area. We may even see a volcanic eruption under the ocean here. We may see an earthquake or a volcanic eruption here just south of Morganton Island right there. There is an undersea volcano here. And magma is moving to this location, and magma is moving over here to Santorini here. We've had a lot of earthquakes here. We've had maybe 7,000 earthquakes here in the past, I want to say 4 or 6 weeks. 7,000 earthquakes. They are the result of magma moving beneath the surface here. And yet, USGS did not even tell anybody until about 4 or 5 weeks ago. For a long time, the Greek people here thought it was just earthquakes moving. It's magma. And then they realized the Santorini volcano and the volcano just south of Amorgos in the ocean, up in the Aegean Sea here, is moving. Earthquakes moving because the magma is moving. That's what's happening here. When we go over here in the mainland Greece, actually before we get to the mainland Greece, this is the island of Crete. There's a 4.1 earthquake over here on the northwest side of Crete. We have even more earthquakes over here in mainland Greece here. About 18 earthquakes here in mainland Greece. And more earthquakes up here towards Albania, over here into Romania as well. Then over here into Croatia. More earthquakes here in Croatia as well. Over here in Italy. Let's back this out. Southern Italy down here. We have earthquakes over in Sicily. Small minor earthquakes and tremors over here into the boot of Italy. Let's move up here. More earthquakes here. Why? Because we have a volcano. We have a volcano here brewing. Magma is moving beneath the sea, beneath the land here, and they have evacuated some parts of the towns here. This is a very urban area here. Let me zoom in here. I'll show you the homes and apartment buildings and other buildings here. There's a volcano beneath the city here, and it's going to pop. At some point in time, it's going to pop. There are about 18 earthquakes here today, generated by magma down beneath the surface here. That's what's going on here. Then we go up here to the north central part of Italy. North central Italy here. There are 22 earthquakes up here. 22 earthquakes up here. Most of these are 1.0 to 2.1 earthquakes. 1.0 to 2.1 earthquakes. While they're mostly tremors, they do have 2.1 minor earthquake. The USGS has not shown it. When we have swarms like this, that usually leads to a large earthquake, like a 5.0 earthquake happened. It's happened here before, it can happen again. We have earthquakes over here in northern Italy as well. 1.2, 1.7, and 2.1, 2.4 earthquakes here. Going over here to the Alps, we have about 6 earthquakes here in the Alps. All these are tremors. 1.0, 1.2, 1.6, 1.7 earthquakes. We come over here to Switzerland. Switzerland, we have 4 earthquakes here. These are 1.7, 1.8, 2.0, 2.4, and 2.5. Germany, the same thing. Austria has 1 earthquake here. But France has 8 earthquakes here. 8 2.0, 2.9 earthquakes here in France. All over France. The earth is moving here. We have earthquakes down here in Spain and Portugal. South of Spain and Portugal over here to the Strait of Gibraltar. Guess what? We have an earthquake fault right here running in the Strait of Gibraltar. And yes, we have minor earthquakes and small earthquakes here at the Strait of Gibraltar. Quite a few. Over here just south of Spain and south of Portugal over here in the Azores Islands, we have some minor earthquakes here. 2.1, 2.7 earthquakes here. Even over here in the Canary Islands, out here in the Canary Islands right here, we have a 2.1 earthquake here. 2.1 minor earthquake here. Now they're not showing any earthquakes up here in Iceland. What a joke. What a joke. There's about a dozen earthquakes here. There's about a dozen earthquakes here. Right over here, there's an island here, a good-sized island here. There's a 2.1 and a 2.7 earthquake here. Okay? Unreal. Unreal. More earthquakes over here in northwestern Iceland as well. Quite a few of them. Then we come over here to Bunga Bunga. This is the volcano. The volcano is under a glacier. Under a glacier. We have a 2.7 earthquake here. Fascinating, huh? Absolutely. We have another volcano here just to the west, right here. We have a 1.7 tremor here. Fascinating. Fascinating. We have more earthquakes over here to the south of Iceland here. Right here. Why are we having earthquakes here? Because we have a volcano going. We have a volcano going. No, it's not erupting. It's not erupting, but the magma is pushing its way through the bedrock here in Iceland. The magma is pushing its way through the bedrock here in Iceland. Right here we have a town called Grindavik. This is a place on the northwest side of Grindavik. We have had a fissure eruption here on the outsides of Grindavik. The magma came over here to the western side of Grindavik and burned down 4 homes here last year. Since then, we've had at least, I want to say, 5 fissure eruptions that have occurred since last December. All those fissure eruptions happened up here. Every one of those fissure eruptions happened up here, far north of Greenvik. Yes, we have earthquakes here, right here in this area here. That's because magma is pushing. Magma is pushing its way through the bedrock here, and sooner or later we're going to have another fissure eruption up here. It's a matter of time. It's literally a matter of time before it happens. We're going to see it. We're going to see it. There is a 2.4 earthquake right here. A 2.4 earthquake right here. That's because there's magma down beneath the surface here of Iceland. We are going to see another volcanic eruption here. It's about time. It's about time. It's been now almost 4 months since the last eruption. It's going to happen. Down here off the southern part of this peninsula of Iceland, we have a 4.7 earthquake right here. 4.7 moderate earthquake right here. We have a total of 12, I believe 12 earthquakes here in Iceland. Okay? It's going. It's going. Plenty of earthquakes here. Now, I have not had a chance to show you all the earthquakes on the East Coast. Yes, we have our share of earthquakes here on the East Coast, even here in North Carolina. Even here in North Carolina, right there. Why are we having earthquakes on the New Madrid Fault? That's because out here in the Atlantic Ocean, right here in the Mid-Atlantic Ocean here, we have a Mid-Atlantic Fault. This is the Mid-Atlantic Plate here. Out here in the middle of the plate, the Mid-Atlantic Fault here in the plate is expanding. Is expanding. The Mid-Atlantic Plate here is pushing Africa and Europe in the easterly direction. The same fault is pushing Greenland, the United States, and Mexico and Canada in a south-southwesterly direction. That's why we have earthquakes here on the East Coast. And that's another reason we have earthquakes on the New Madrid Fault. The New Madrid Fault is being squeezed. The New Madrid Fault is being squeezed. We have earthquakes in Virginia. We have earthquakes in North Carolina. Earthquakes in South Carolina and Georgia as a result of the Mid-Atlantic Fault expansion. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. Let me take down the earthquake map here. Let me take it down here. Let's go back here to our earthquakes here. I want to show you what's going on. You need to know. Let's go over here to Roper, North Carolina. This is on the northeast side of North Carolina, over near the coastline. For the most part, early this morning we had nothing but tremors, microquakes and tremors. Then all of a sudden out of nowhere, after 8:40, I want to say 8:49 this morning, we have a 3.0 earthquake here on this green line. Then come 10:30 this morning, over here on the right hand side, let me show you what's really going on here. You ought to know it. You should know it. Let me show you what's happening here. Let me enlarge this so I can show you what's happening. Out here after 10:30, 10:36 this morning, we had a 3.5 earthquake. 3.5 earthquake. This earthquake lasted 30 seconds. Then 2.5 minutes later, we have a 3.2, 3.3. So already this morning we've had 3 small earthquakes. 3 small earthquakes here, Roper, North Carolina. That's not all, folks, there's more. Again, what's causing it? The Mid-Atlantic Fault is pushing on the North American Plate. The Mid-Atlantic Fault is pushing on the North American Plate here. That's why we're having these. That's what's going on. Let me show you Roper, North Carolina this afternoon. Right here. Look at this. 12:30 this afternoon. 12:30 this afternoon, we have another 3.5 earthquake. 3.5 earthquake. This earthquake lasted 10 seconds. It shook the ground 10 seconds. The first earthquake happened, then it lessened for a couple seconds, and it hit it again. And the shaking lasted about 10 seconds. Yes, we've seen some other minor 2.0, 2.3 earthquakes here in Roper, North Carolina today. You can see the seismic activity here. But it's not over. It's not over. It's not over till the fat lady sings, and I haven't seen the fat lady sing yet. This is Roper, North Carolina here. Let's show you Roper, North Carolina this afternoon. Oh, I did. I'm sorry. This is this afternoon here. Duh. Let me show you another town, Rowland, R-O-W-L-A-N-D, North Carolina. This may blow your mind as well. Look at this. This is what happened here this morning. Rowland, North Carolina. Look what happened here. It was very quiet all morning long. All morning long until about 7:34 this morning. Then we had a 3.0 earthquake. 7:36 happens. We have another 3.0 earthquake, and it continues to shake for a little while. For 4 or 5 seconds. Numerous earthquakes happen there. You can see each individual line. Each individual line is a primary quake. Okay? What happens after 8 o'clock? What happens after 8 a.m.? 8:04 a.m. this morning. This time a 3.3 earthquake happens. This earthquake lasts about 7 seconds. Then we have a secondary wave that lasts about 30 seconds. Secondary wave of tremors. Tremors this time. Then, about 8:13 a.m. this morning, another 3.2 earthquake happens. 3.2 earthquake happens. Then, 8:53 this morning, another 3.0 earthquake happens. Okay? Then at 9 a.m. this morning, another 3.3 earthquake hits. Another 3.3 earthquake hits. Then over here after 11:15 this morning, on the red line, 11:18 this morning, we have another 3.3 earthquake. Then at 11:32 this morning, we have another 3.0 earthquake. 8 3.0 and larger earthquakes here in Rowland, North Carolina this morning. 8 of them. This is the most earthquakes we've seen here in Roland, North Carolina in the time that I've been broadcasting. That's because the Mid-Atlantic Fault is pushing on the North American Plate. That's what's going on. And as a result, we're getting earthquakes over here along the Pneumatic Fault. That's what's going on. I'm not done. I'm not done. Let me show you Roland this afternoon. We had 8 3.0 and larger quakes this morning. We had a 2.5, 2.6 earthquake that hit here this afternoon just after 12:30. Just after 12:30 this afternoon. That earthquake hit at about 12:38. 12:38 this afternoon. Then more. A lot more. At 1:41 this afternoon, another 3.0 earthquake. 1:48 this afternoon, another 3.3 earthquake. 1:50, I'm going to say 1:53 p.m. this afternoon, another 3.3 earthquake. 3.2 earthquake 3 minutes later. Then we come over 2 p.m. Another 3.3 earthquake hit here. 2:29 p.m. this afternoon on the red line on the right-hand side. Now we're talking about another 3.3 earthquake here. Then we have a bunch of tremors. 1:47 p.m. this afternoon. Another 3.3 earthquake hits. This time, the ground shakes for about 15 seconds. This was one of the largest earthquakes that hit here in Roland, North Carolina. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 3.0 or larger earthquakes here in Roland, North Carolina today. The ground is moving. The seismic action is increasing. The number of earthquakes are increasing, and the strength of these earthquakes are also increasing. I could show you Georgia. No, we don't have any 3.0 earthquakes hitting in Georgia, but we do have 2.0, 2.5, 2.6 minor earthquakes there, and a lot of tremors. Again, the North American plate is pushing, the Atlantic plate is pushing on the North American plate. That's what's causing these earthquakes on the East Coast. And as a result, the Pneumatic Fault is getting squeezed. That's what we have for you. Do I have any questions? I wanted to make sure we had a chance to talk about this, because this is real. This is very real. It's happening. It's happening. I think I made my point. Many of you also have said that the seismic activity has increased. Both the number and the strength of these earthquakes have increased. I've proven it. It's a matter of time before it pops. It's a matter of time before it pops. 4 years ago, before I moved here, we had a 5.0 earthquake northwest of where I live in Sparta, North Carolina. It was a 5.1 earthquake. It was on top of the Eastern Continental Divide. We're going to see more of those. It's a matter of time. The whole earth is changing. The United States is changing. I also forgot to tell you, Our friend Demon Catman lives in the east of England. Over in Wales today, we had a 2.7 minor earthquake in Wales. We haven't seen an earthquake in the British Empire in quite some time. Usually over in England in that area we see 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.7 tremors. That's about it. Now we saw a minor earthquake hit over in Wales today. The whole place is moving. Everything's moving. Folks, again, if you want to help support this program, just below this video today in the top of our program description, you're going to be able to find out how you can join this program as a member. There's a member link there. Below that, we have our email address. We have our email address scrolling along the bottom of your screen here. We also have our address here, 504 Bethel Road, Box 401, Morganton, North Carolina. Zip code here is 28655. We'd appreciate any and all support you can give us. There are bills to keep this program on the air. We pay $253 a month for bandwidth to broadcast this program. Yes, we got a newer computer at the end of the last year, and we're now using it. We appreciate that. We appreciate you helping us get that. But right now we're trying to keep this program on the air. We're trying to survive. We had to let our post office box go because we were not getting enough donations to pay for it. We appreciate anything you can do to help us. We can appreciate anything you can do to help us. Yes, last year we also donated money because of what you gave us. We donated money to a charity to help the people here in Western North Carolina. We definitely appreciate that. And so do the people here in Western North Carolina that were devastated by last year's Hurricane Helene. Then after we made the donations to that charity, President Trump and Vice President Vance both came here. President Trump made a donation out of his pocket and took government money as well to help find permanent homes for the people who were displaced by the hurricane. Joe Biden could have done it, but he didn't do it. Joe Biden took money from FEMA and gave it to illegal aliens to make sure the aliens, the illegals, could vote for the Democrat Party for the rest of history. That's ended. Before President Trump took office, I talked to the congressional representative, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. He reappropriated $30 billion to FEMA to give money to the people here in Western North Carolina. FEMA didn't do it. President Trump did. Now we have people not living in tents, but living in apartments and homes for the first time in months. Several babies have died because of exposure, because they were out in the cold in tents. I hope that never happens again. I hope that never happens again. Because some of you donated money. We were able to donate money to the charity to help get people off the streets. I'm real. Samaritan's Purse, ladies and gentlemen. Samaritan's Purse. They sent me a thank you letter and a pamphlet. We made 2 donations to Samaritan's Purse for a total of about $600 or $700. I thank you for that. We're just asking for your help and continued donations to help keep this program on the air. Yes, if something happens again, we will rally together and raise money for people that don't have it. Here in Morganton, we have a county called Burke County. Carol and I also gave clothes and shoes to Burke County to pass out up on the hill. Many other people did the same thing. Those people need clothes and shoes and jackets and coats. They got them. We appreciate everything that you've helped us do. God bless you for that. God bless you for that. Brothers and sisters, we've been a team here. We've been a team here at Emergency Management Associates, and I want you to know how much it's loved and appreciated. We're always going to do that. Now, I want to go over to 2 Corinthians tonight. 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 5 through 7. For as the sufferings of Christ abound in us, so our consolation also aboundeth in Christ. And whether we be afflicted, it is for your consolation and salvation, which is effectual in the enduring of the same sufferings, which we also suffer. Or whether we be comforted, it is for your consolation and salvation. And our hope of you is steadfast, knowing that as ye are partakers of the sufferings, so shall ye also be of the consolation. That is Apostle Paul speaking to the Corinthians and all of us. Each of us are brothers and sisters in Christ. Each of us help each other. Each of us help each other and grow. I love and appreciate each and every one of you. I really do. May God bless us. May God bless us to continue to thrive. God bless us to continue to help other people. Brothers and sisters, I love you. I care a great deal about you. I've worked here now for 6 years. April 3rd, it will be 6 years that I've been here. I had one channel that was taken down stupidly by YouTube and the Biden administration because they said that I was putting bad juju out. Guess what? I wasn't. Everything that I put out on the air was true, and YouTube took my channel down. Within several days, I was back up here on the air. This is my 2nd year on the air now. I'm going to continue to be here. I will continue to be here. I'm going to continue to be here for all of you. Barry Little, thank you for being here. This is the first time I've seen you. Thank you very much. No complaints. He's amazing. God bless all here. Barbie, thank you. Again, please subscribe to this channel. When you do, also hit the little bell icon. And then click on the word ALL to get notified when we come on the air. Subscribe to this channel. If you're already subscribed, make sure you're still subscribed because YouTube is unsubscribing people. We'd appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. We definitely love and appreciate you all. God be with you now. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Much love. See you soon. God bless. If anything else happens, we'll be back here on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. See you soon. God bless.